the town council meeting here for the town of Iron Gate, dated Thursday, June the 26th, 2025 at 7 p.m. I'd like to have everyone please stand for the invocation. Remove your hats, please. Gentlemen, thank you. Gracious Lord, we thank you for this opportunity to come together as a group, as a community, as neighbors and friends. Lord, we ask you for your blessing, as only can come from you on this meeting. We ask for wisdom and guidance for our council members. We ask for patience and understanding from our community. And Lord, we just thank you for your Son and all that you do for us every day. In thy holy and precious name we pray. Amen. Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. Sorry.
Pledge of allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let me start off by saying I'm glad to see everyone here. I would love to see everyone at the July work council meetings, the August council meetings. This looks good. The first thing we do, we pay our bill. They're having some trouble here, so they told us they were having some trouble, and I apologize for that. First thing that I need to do is I need to amend the agenda. When I was typing this up, I had typed up the mayor's report, and then I typed up committee reports, and then I got a telephone call, and when I started back up again, I went right into old business, and it was my mistake, my typo, that I left off public comments. But there will be a public comment session. Let me clarify all of this. The public, we are going to allow the residents to ask questions, viable questions after the presentation. You're going to have 5 minutes to hear what's said, so listen to what the presentation says, because they may answer your question and there will be none. I did notice that several people signed up over here for public comments. Public comments is going to be for anything else other than the presentation. So if you have a question about something the council is doing or anything like that, then that's going to be under the public comments.
Clarification, please.
Excuse me?
Clarification, please.
Yes, sir.
If what we want to say deals with what's being presented, we have to do that during the question and answer period, because we will not be allowed to speak about it again.
Correct.
Is that correct?
Correct. During public, that is correct. It's only going to be on the question and answer session. We will take a brief break after that presentation and after the question and answer session. So those of you that want to go home and get back into your air conditioning, you can certainly leave. There's no need for you to stay unless you want to. Also, this is not, let me repeat this, this is not going to be voted on tonight. Nothing is being presented to council for their consideration. This is just to let everyone know what plans are on their paperwork. It's not on council's paperwork. We are not voting. We would have to have a public hearing on that, and there would be several things that would have to be done before any changes can be made.
Citizens vote on it. The citizens vote on it, not the council.
Well, what it is council will back the citizens,
No, I hope so.
but we will have public comment later. Now, first thing on the list is, excuse me?
So don't hold back. We got anything to say, we need to say.
Well, it's going to be done in a diplomatic manner.
That's right.
You have to ask questions, and it has to be a legitimate question, and it has to be a common sense question. We do have 2 deputies here, and if things get out of hand, I do not have a problem asking people to leave.
I don't think the threat's in order. I think we ought to get on.
No, I don't think so either, I just wanted to let people know. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's be nice about all of this, okay? At this point,
That would start the meeting off on the right foot. Because we're all tax-paying adults, sitting right here with real concerns. That's all I'm gonna say. Go forward.
at this point in time, I would like to ask if there is a representative from the Garden family that would be willing to do the presentation. Yes, sir. Please step forward. Yes, sir. Please come up. Introduce yourself. Please do the presentation. There will be no questions until after he's finished. Please do not interrupt him because what he's saying may answer your question.
My name's Robert Garden. Everybody calls me Dizzy. I've been Dizzy forever. First of all, we have not come up with any plans. This was just a concept. Nothing is, I heard that we tried to railroad something through. None of that is true at all. This was just a concept. We had a fire at the building. There are, a lot of things that need to be done to the building, and this was just an idea that we had. We just asked Ms. Persinger if she would talk to us. We said, we'd do a presentation. If it goes that far, then we'd look at zoning. If it falls in, if the townspeople, we did not want to make anybody think that we're trying to throw 10,000 cattle down your throat. That is not the idea behind this at all. Confinement barns are not what a lot of people think they are. It's a controlled environment. Right now with cattle, you've got problems. Now we've got ticks we have to worry about. You've got diseases, you've got predators, you've got so many things, and the farming industry is shrinking and the need for beef is getting bigger. So confinement areas do two things. One, you control the manure and you can put that back onto the fields through a compost situation. So you're not, when cattle walk and eat, they tear up the ground. It's just harder on them. And they're not a grazing animal like we thought they were 200 years ago. They're not buffalo. They don't like the heat. Right now, this is absolutely not a good situation for them with the heat that's going on. And they like a controlled environment. You have ventilation, you have fans, you have a certain type of food that you feed them called a total mixed ration. And it just works better. That building is not ideal for that. It was just something that we thought would fit if we could do it. It is not something that's set in stone. We haven't ordered anything. I know everybody saw the wood that was from an auction we had 2 weeks ago, and we sold a guy and hadn't picked it up yet. I'm sorry to get him to pick it up, but that has nothing to do with that barn. That was from an auction over there where we sold out an old former hot tub facility, or not hot tub, sauna. But other than that, that is as far as we got with this. We haven't, decided to put in pins, anything like that. The cattle never leave inside there. They go in at 550 pounds, they come out at 800, and they go out west. That's as far as it goes. It's not a facility where, you're constantly having them in and out and all that stuff. It's just basically for the winter and the summer. You got 2 months and 2 months. That's what they do. That's how far they're in there. We don't have to do it there. We don't need to do it there. We just thought that maybe that was an idea that may work. It was kind of a prototype, for less of a better word. It's not been done in old warehouses like that, and we just thought, we're thinking outside the box, maybe it would work. It would not get into the river, if that's a concern. Right now, cattle are in the river, so it would actually take them out of the river instead of putting them, having to worry about it getting in the river. Right now, they're going anytime they want to. Flies, that would be a concern if I was a townsperson. It's always going to be a concern. Smell, it's not going to be what you think. If that was to happen, it would not be the issue that you think. There's sometimes at my house it's 110 acres, and when we go to ship out, we could have as many as 700 or 800 there for a week. I can't smell it inside my house, and I'm right there beside it. The playground was brought up. I have a playground beside them for my kids. It doesn't deter them from doing it. There is nothing that we would do to, upset you all in any way, shape, or form. That's not our goal. That's not something that we would have any interest in, and we do not need to do this. If you guys don't want it, by all means, we will trash it right now. We have no plans to do it. So if you all want to, want us to move on, we'll be happy to. We do not want to force this down anybody's throat or make anybody think that we've set this in stone to do it. It's just an idea. I'm done. Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
I'll answer
Anybody on
anything
the
you might
front row
ask.
have any questions? State your name and your address, please.
Christopher Mayor, 409 Market. My main question is, do you have any other plans for the building that you've thought of other than this?
We have, your standard stuff, build it back, try to find a tenant. Right now, that's very difficult to do. Labor situations are hard to find, to get people in. There's distribution centers all up and down 81 right now, and that's not probably the easiest thing to find a tenant for. I mean, it's sometimes, you get lucky and you get one. I'd hate to spend a ton of money on that. Due to the situation we're in now, the customer that was in there doesn't look like he's gonna make the building whole again through, unfortunate circumstances. So I think we're gonna have to do it ourselves. So do we wanna put a ton of money into finding, rebuilding it, trying to find a warehouse tenant? That's an option. There's, manufacturing facilities. That's even harder to find now, is to find a manufacturing tenant. That would be the ultimate goal, if that's what we'd love to have. But, the other thing you get into there are incentives. I mean, what kind of incentives could the county economic development, town aggregate, what kind of incentives can you throw at these people to get them to come? That's the other, difficult problem you have there. But we would love to do something like that if we could. That would be a lot better than California.
Anyone else on the front row have a question?
My name is Mark Vaness. I live at 408 Railroad Avenue, which is not far from across from where we plan on or speculating or putting this school.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. The playground is almost directly across from there. The buses are already parked in there.
I didn't bring in.
For two. This doesn't sound like a good plan for the cattle.
Is
or
this a
citizens
question?
of the state.
Ma'am?
And are you talking about putting them in the old? Yes, I'm getting to it. Are you talking about putting them in the old plant?
Yes, you would put them inside. You would create a ventilation system for them with exhaust fans.
And that's going to keep those cattle all contained, no smell.
Yes, that's the idea.
Well, that's not, you spoke about cattle on 110 acres. You're not going to probably sell on 110 acres, but I'm sitting on my front porch every day. I take my grandkids to the playground just about every day. Except we're been down there working for a week, you can't get down there. I don't really think that this is good for the city for cattle day.
Okay.
Take it to, go ask the city of Covington if they want one of their buildings with cows in it. And see how they build it.
Okay.
There's a lot of old people living in our gate. We actually work in our yards. We actually sit on our front porches. We live in our homes. And I think it'd be very interruptive to the whole process of living in this small town. Thank you for your time.
Yes, ma'am.
Does anyone on the second row have a question? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Brandon.
Are y'all gonna put this thing in according to EPA rules?
Yes, sir, you have to. It'd be USDA standards.
You do know that is a chemical waste,
Yes, sir.
and there's not a whole lot, you can't disturb the earth down
We're not going to.
there. Okay, yeah.
Anyone in the second row have a question?
Can I finish?
Oh, I'm sorry, I thought that was done.
East. What has been done to the building? Has that thing been cleaned out good?
Right
No
now,
chemical residues left in that place anymore?
not supposed to be. When we bought it, we had a phase 1 and phase 2, but yes, it is contaminated. It will stay contaminated from the tannery.
Well, my part of it, they go back up the road somewhere.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
My name is Kevin Wayne Ice, we're 714 Railroad Avenue. Now, if we do make y'all put cattle over there, How are you gonna get rid of the waste?
See, that's the best part. The waste actually leaves daily. So you have what's called a pack barn. And with the pack barn, you're constantly blowing straw, cotton, they call it cottonseed trash. It's what comes off the cotton gin. You'd have your main thing for the waste and the smell is lime, which we already currently have. We have blower trucks where you have about 16 tons of lime on the trailer, which you would spray in there. The idea is to have everything they're laying on, plus the waste, go in to make the compost. So they lay on that, and then while they're eating, this is not really great, but while they're eating, behind them is what you would scrape every day. So they're standing there eating, then you take them out of that, and then they go lay down. Then they come back and they eat, and they do the same thing. And while they're eating, that's where you're scraping, and you take that out, sometimes not daily, depending on how many you have, but we would take that back to the manure pit.
Well, I live over Virginia office,
Yes, sir.
and we have 14.5 acre land. We got 1 cow, 2 hogs. I'll help my daddy clean out both of them. And let me tell you, that's smell you don't want to see here. I mean, you don't want to smell it. It's just 1 cow.
Anyone on the second row have a question? Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I understand you're a businessman that's involved.
What's your name and address?
Oh, I'm sorry, Pat Sheffield, 815 Commerce Avenue. I live right against the tracks. Like I said, I understand that you're a businessman, you're looking for a way to make money, do whatever you have to do. But that building, if you have to do so many repairs to it, why wouldn't you build a barn on your property that you have and make a standing barn closure for them out in fields or away from people?
That's a great point, and the reason being, to build that concrete structure that's in there right now will probably cost upwards of $3 to $4 million minimum.
Well, I know you got property in Bath County, you own a whole bunch up there, you own all the way to Eagle Rock. You probably got the money. But we live here. This is our town. We can't even have chickens. But you're gonna put cows in a cement building that's gonna stink to high heaven? And that building, I know, I treated a man in the hospital for asbestos poisoning that died from working there. So you gotta, it's loaded with chemicals.
Does anyone have any questions on the third? Yes, ma'am. Second row?
Yeah, the Becky Bass, 407 County Road, I live right up from it. And how are you gonna keep the area clean and keep the cows contained?
Well, there's already cinder block walls all the way around it, so cows can't get out of cinder block. They have no chance to get out of the cinder block, so they'll be in there. The only time you'll take them out is when you ship them out. So they're not going outside. They'll stay inside.
Are you sure?
That's the idea.
And the property right in front of me you own, but they will not mow it. Why won't they mow it?
Right?
Right in front of my house is your property. I've asked your mowers to mow it, and they say, I ain't mowing a bit more than I got to. And I mean, you can't see to go down the road because it's so high.
Well, let me know. I didn't even know we had it. So
It's the whole strip of your last warehouse, it's the
Right.
whole strip up through there, that belongs to you too. Unless you wanna give it to me, then I'll get it cleared
You
up.
might not want it. I think it's pretty bad.
But yeah, I just wanna have the people contained, cause I go out there like 4:30 in the morning, and I don't wanna run over a cow.
I mean, it'd be like 10 times stronger than a regular fence. So, I mean, right now you just have regular pins and they stay in there. I'd love to have cinder blocks on all of them, but we don't have that, so they'll stay.
Does anyone have any questions? It's in the third row.
I'm not sure which row I'm so.
Okay.
Okay, I'm Scott Unruh, 902 Commerce Avenue, been a long-time resident of Iron Gate, pretty much all my life. Very similar to questions that's already been asked, mine is around waste. I've dealt with waste for the bulk of my career. I'm retired now, and I'm greatly concerned about the solid, and there will be solid and liquid waste, and you know how it's being hauled out of here and dripping on the roadways and stuff like that. So also, there's also the potential for, everybody hears about greenhouse gases. Cattle produce a lot of methane, you know that. So,
You're not gonna create any more methane inside
Well,
the ventilation.
I agree with that. I agree with that. I just didn't know as far as the health of cattle, if that's a concern since it's enclosed.
No, that's why you have the ventilation, yes, sir.
Okay. So, there was also a mention, by the council in the last recorded session that there was an agreement with a, large firm in our area to treat the waste. Is that correct, or was that just a comment? Their waste.
There was some confusion about that. I'm glad you brought that up. I think they thought we would take the waste to the mill to burn. That's, no.
Okay,
The waste will all be organic and put back, and it saves you from buying chemical fertilizer. What would be coming from the mill would be bedding material. That's what we were trying to, talk to the mill about. No, it's regular paper. It's what they have to cut off from damage. So they would shred it, and you just put it in the blower, and it would blow over, and then that gets turned back into compost. So you're essentially giving them, green energy tax credits if it works. You'd have to make sure it works. But
along that same lines, and after this, I have one quick question. Along that same lines, has any of this been reviewed with Virginia DEQ, Department of Environmental Quality? And are there any other similar that you guys control?
So we've done 11 water projects, conservation projects. I've had a million homes put into place, and every time, it just doesn't work out. It's either cost or distance or something like that, and that's why we haven't gotten it to come to fruition. I should have done it 10 years ago, and I didn't do it. And that's one thing we've looked at, and we've been to at least 50 of them around the state. There's a bunch being built in Botetourt right now. It's kind of, for lack of a better word, it's where it's going. It is just going to confine the cattle. I mean, there's no other way to do it right now, and give them the food that they need, protect the land, and protect the cattle. Because with the water, correct, the water source and everything else. And
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
no, go ahead.
Last but certainly not least, actually, this is really more for the council. I guess my question is directly related to what we're doing here tonight. And you don't have to answer this if you don't want to, but I just want to know that as a citizen of our gate, if I came to you and said, guys, I have several properties around our gate. I want to put a couple cattle on my property. I can almost assure you, and I don't mean to speak for you, that your answer would be, no, Scott, we have an ordinance against that. And that would be it. You wouldn't offer me a public forum or anything like that. I just kind of want to understand how we got here. And for the record, I have no desire to have cattle on property, or chickens, or gophers, or groundhogs, or whatever. If I could get rid of all of them, that'd be great. But, I'm curious about that, because I really feel like had I approached any of you, you would have very bluntly told me, we have an ordinance against that. And that's my question. Please choose to answer if you like. If not, if the answer is that's what you would have told me, then I say and I know you said we're going to have a vote tonight, then I say we vote on it right now, and we be done with it. But again, that's y'all's decision, and that's all I've got to say, and I do appreciate the time. Thank you.
Again, honestly, there's nothing to vote on. We haven't asked for anything. We haven't proposed anything. It was strictly just a concept that we came up with. We're not asking for anything or anything like that. I
don't mean to interrupt you, Billy. I understand completely, but I also feel very confident in the fact that if I come up to the council meeting and said, I want to put cattle on my property, and anybody in this field, in this room, we're not in the field yet. But in this room, we just simply been talking over us. I'm sorry, guys. And that would have been the end of course. And again, to be perfectly clear, I have no desire to have cattle. But just a question.
I would like to answer that question. I think if an individual had come up and said, I want bunny rabbits, or I want goats, or I want cows, then council would have said no because of the ordinance. The only difference in this matter was because this was a business that was being dealt with.
Okay. Fair enough. I mean, I would,
this is a question and answer period, so I'm not asking more questions. I would have some comments about that, but you please move on. Go on, I appreciate it.
Okay, does anybody else have any questions, I guess? Yes, sir.
First of all, Dizzy, thank you for manning up and walking into this deal. I appreciate that. Okay, I'm Chuck Unruh, 706 Railroad Avenue, less than 125 yards from your door and your water line. And I have a few things, I have 3 questions, but I would want to lay the groundwork. Short questions.
Go ahead.
We never complained about anything you've done with it. The trucks lined up at night waiting to get in to unload paper with their motors running, wasn't an issue. Industrial site. Lights on, not an issue. The workers on the loading dock, loud talking, nasty language, wasn't an issue. You didn't get thunder. Forklift running 500,000 times across the apron, going in and out of those trailers to unload, you never heard a word. But what I need to ask you tonight is clarification. Because you said tonight that, correct me if I misunderstood you, you bring them in at a certain weight, you put a few 100 pounds on them, and you move them out.
Yes, sir.
So let me tell you what we're dealing with and the information that we have.
Okay.
And I got this information at the work session, and I quote, they are planning to bring in 400 heads of cattle, 200 heifers, 200 cows. They will be housed in the building with the windows open. They should have enough cross reference to be cool enough. They will be protected from the elements, out of the sun, and their body heat should keep them warm enough in the winter. That does not sound to me like a process where you bring them in, back them up, and you move them out. Can you clarify that for me?
Sure. And where there was probably confusion on that, we literally met like that. I mean, it was a total of maybe 10 minutes. What we were explaining is we would pull the calves off of the cows at weaning. We would wean them. You can't put them directly in there because of sickness. You have to wean them outside. So when you take them away from the mom, you're about 60 days. And that way you make sure there's no fever, there's no sickness, there's no any of that. Because if that goes into the barn, you've literally given every one of them that. So you want to make sure they're free of all sickness and all that, with the idea that they don't go in with that, then they don't get it. So that's the idea behind that. You would take them in there, you would leave them, they're going to gain somewhere. You'd love to get 3.5 pounds, I'd say 2.5 per day is probably sustainable. And you would keep them in there for X amount of days, and you would have a sale date on them, and that's the day you would ship out.
Okay, yes, for further clarification.
So the cow and the heifer is the calf, is the female calf. That's what we'd be keeping, that's the ones
But
that.
the mama cow not coming.
Correct, no, not at all. No, we don't want them.
Just your feeder line.
Correct.
Feeder line.
Correct.
Okay. The second question I had to deal with a supposed agreement that you had with Westlake to treat the waste. You've clarified that for me. And I understand the confusion on that. Now, well, a lot of things I'd like to say, but my privilege to do that has been limited. So the last question I have for you is, say council went against everybody in this room, because it's pretty obvious to me you have your answer. But if our council decided not to represent us like we wanted to, and allow this to happen, what would the financial benefit to the town of Iron Gate be?
I mean, you're not gonna get a ton of tax dollars off of it. You're gonna get water, I'd be happy to switch the equipment so you get the property tax off of that. Other than that, you're gonna get a little bit of sales tax and, the idea that it could grow into something maybe one day if you wanted to finish them, you could probably sell it as a, later on it could turn into, something bigger, maybe a prototype, maybe something else, I don't know. But that would be, you're basically starting at 200 and see where it goes from there.
So basically, we're already generating the real estate tax on the property. So the only additional financial benefit to the town would be maybe some machineries and tools tax. have your business license for this facility in the town of Iron
I mean, I would be happy to do that. And, you know, the equipment, I mean, unfortunately, farm equipment's extremely expensive, so if we put it in the town Iron Gate, I mean, we'd be happy to do that if there was something worked out with that. But, yes, sir.
Is anyone in the fourth?
I now have a question to generate from some of this conversation. What is the difference between a town citizen or a business asking for this very same thing? I may be a little bit naive, but isn't it an ordinance? An ordinance.
It is in the ordinance about the animals in town. It was just common courtesy and respect that we extended this to Mr. Gordon for this presentation. Does anyone in the fourth row have any?
This is all the questions for you. First of all, if they do not allow you to put cattle in there, are you gonna close that building up and make it safe? It's been a year.
Well, right now we can't because it's still in the litigation phase with the gentleman that owned the rugs and the tenant that was out that was warehousing the rug. We weren't the warehousing company. We had leased it to another customer and he was warehousing it, and they're fighting amongst themselves. And we've asked them to move them. We've asked them to fix it, to pay us. We've done everything we can do, and unfortunately, it's still where it is, and all we do is get letters, you know, holding stuff. I mean, we would have fixed the roof in the building a long time ago if we could, but.
Well, it's, you know, the odor comes from it. It's a danger to children and to animals, actually, with it open like that.
I mean, it's a danger to people. There's people going in and out of there getting those rugs nonstop. We've explained that. We've talked to them. We've done everything we can do, and unfortunately, it's not our property. And we just keep getting, you know.
And as far as the cattle situation, you know, one other person said you have lots of property. You even have enough room. I go to Little 3 times a week. I have a brother-in-law who has dialysis. You have enough property enough to build that kind of business.
Yes, ma'am.
And so you want to put it in a residential, you're used to smelling cow manure, we're not. Just saying.
I agree. I mean, technically though, it is an industrial site. I mean, it is industrial. It's not residential, so.
It's not agriculture.
It's not.
Does anyone in the fourth row have a question?
I do.
Yes, ma'am.
I'm Melinda Hinkle. I live on Commerce Avenue. I'm going to kind of piggyback off of what Chuck asked. So, are you aware that, because I know you brought up sales tax, machine and tool tax, and real estate tax. So, are you aware that when it comes to agricultural entities and agricultural businesses, that they are exempt from sales tax until it gets to the retail business and actually sells to the consumer?
Correct.
So we wouldn't actually probably get sales tax from your business.
We're in what's called a GAP program, which
Okay.
all of our animals go to Whole Foods, so we are technically selling to the end user.
So we wouldn't get the sales tax for the retailer
If it gets that far, yes.
if it gets that far. Okay. And as far as the machine tools tax, most agricultural businesses are exempt from that as well. Is that right? When it comes to machines and tools for certain machines and tools.
I can't answer that for the locality. I don't have anything in this locality.
Well, the state of Virginia exempts it.
I mean, they can't, yes, but.
For agricultural businesses.
Yeah, you still have to pay when you buy.
Okay. And then also for agricultural businesses or entities, they also get certain exemptions for real estate taxes.
Well, I mean, it's not gonna be zone tag anyway, it would stay industrial when we sell it at real estate tax law. That's, yes, I mean, that's the way it would work. It would have to be just a variance, correct?
I would think since it's under, if you had livestock in it, it would be agriculture.
That could be a question for the record.
We'd have to look at it, give it a prototype.
I don't think that we could do that though, because the contamination, I think, would have to stay in the industrial, and we'd have to get a variance. Because it is under, you know, it does have monitoring wells, and it is under the brownfield or whatever.
That's all. Thank you.
Thank you.
questions from the fifth row? Six?
Yes, sir.
Two questions. What kind of sewage system would you be adding to this building? Would it be like the liquid system or a dry pack?
There would be no sewage going in. We would actually cut the sewage off. So the idea is to get those,
The effluent from the cattle.
correct. You're trying to get the organisms to work on, with themselves, and they're trying to eat that to turn into compost. So when you take it off, that's what it is. The bed pack is what you're using for the drying agent. So you're using the straw, the lime, the cotton seed trash. That's what you want to use to keep. The idea is to keep it dry. You don't want it wet. If it gets wet, then they're walking through it. They're losing weight. It's heavy. It's hard. It's like you walking in sand every day. You don't want them doing that. You want to keep it dry. You want to keep them on top of it. You want to keep them healthy, and you want to turn it.
My second question, as you're loading and unloading them, how are you going to deal with that system that's not inside the building and runoff from that and feeding as well?
Feeding will be a problem because you'll have to feed line where you're going in. When you have to go out, you're going to have some. There's no way around. You're going to have some. The same as if somebody drives a horse or something. The same thing's going to happen. It's just what animals do. Is it going to hurt anything? No. Is it something that's going to sit there and cause a
But from a VDAX standpoint, for Virginia, you have to have something you have to have something implemented for runoff for loading.
If you have runoff, correct, but we would have it runoff. You'd have curves all the way around. So when they went out, the only place where you would have anything escape was from the crack between where they step into the trailer and where they don't. Now, after they get in the trailer, the truck driver is responsible for that, but that can happen, it is part of it.
Anyone in the seventh row?
What about the safety? My name's Mary Breckenridge. I'm 506 Market Street. I'm concerned about the increase in traffic going back and forth across the railroad tracks. And there's been multiple accidents at that corner, and telephone poles and light poles have been taken out more than once. And I'm just concerned about the traffic and the fact that nobody obeys the speed limit to our yet anyway. And I think it's a dangerous intersection.
As far as what this would create, I don't think it'd be enough traffic that you would notice. It might be a couple employees going in and out every day, but over a couple of days when you're bringing them in and taking them out, you wouldn't really see any traffic from us.
And I agree with most of the people that are spoke here tonight, but I just wondered if the state safety issue.
My name is Jason Morissette, I live at 1001 Market Avenue. So my concern was how often are trucks coming in and out of that facility daily?
Right now?
Not right
I
now,
was gonna say,
generally.
You mean when
If we live right at the corner where they'll be coming and going from, so I'm curious how often are these big trucks coming in and out of there?
you're gonna have probably 5 trucks in, and they'll drop off, and then you'll have 7 to 8 trucks out, and then they leave. So you're not gonna have a lot of truck traffic by any means. Once they're in, they're in. I hope to get them out really quick.
Then how often has the rotation on your head to cap?
Depends, fall and spring, basically, so twice a year.
Is there going to be any environmental back report?
A who?
Environmental back report?
We could do one, that'd be perfectly fine. But the problem is now, it's already contaminated, so the environmentals, we already have. I could give them to you, but I'd say if cattle waste did anything on that facility, I'd say if the cattle did anything on that facility, on the outside, it would probably improve it. But yeah, we could definitely do environmentals for you.
The main thing is you have a railroad across over there, so there'll be a lot of trucks that will be coming up there for us. So it's a bit of a concern for sure. But I appreciate you taking the time to address concerns.
flood aspect of that property and how it stands in the floodplain. I'm not aware if it's in the floodplain or not. Have you done a flood elevation study on it or anything?
The building itself is out.
Okay.
So, I mean, the land there, so Rick, I'm sure is at least 500, but as far as the facility goes, I mean, that's the FEMA standards, so that's
Okay.
all up.
The other thing is, you know, I realize you're talking about a few trucks coming in when you're loading cattle in there, a few coming out when you're taking them out, but you're gonna have feed trucks come in on a daily basis. You're gonna have to haul manure out almost on a daily basis. And I'm assuming you're gonna have, containment there for manure.
Sure.
And I mean, that's gonna have to go on a regular basis. I mean, you're gonna have a fair amount of truck traffic there.
Well, the idea is to let it heat though, so you're not gonna be driving in and out of there constantly. So the idea is to wait till you're going to spread, and then the trucks will take, spreader trucks will take it out.
So how many feed stores, you have feed stores there?
Sure. I mean, we should.
You have trucks coming on a regular basis, and that's just gonna be a fair amount of truck traffic.
I mean, yes, if you want to look at it, you might average, you could average one a day.
Yeah. The other thing too, I mean, you know, cattle, not only do they smell, because I mean, I raise cattle, I know, if they're recently weaned, they're gonna bawl.
Well, you can't take them in there recently, I already told you that, they gotta be 60 days before you can take them in.
But cattle aren't particularly quiet, you know, I mean, they gonna make a little bit of noise. I mean, everybody needs to be aware of that too. The other thing is, you know, I own the property where the schoolhouse is, and I don't think that's zoned residential. I'm not sure what it's zoned because it's been used there for years for storage. And there's been a couple of industrial sites there at the garages there. So, you know, if y'all pass this, I'd like to talk to you about maybe putting a hog operation in there.
Pretty good.
The only thing I would say is, I mean, if you all don't want this, by all means, it dies tonight. I mean, we don't have any interest in going against it by any stretch of the imagination.
Thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
All right, we'll take a brief 10-minute break for anyone who would like to leave, or you can stay for the rest of the meeting. It's whatever you want to Okay, let's finish up with this meeting, and now I need the approval of the minutes for the regular council meeting that was set on May the 29th of 2025, and the work session on June the 16th of 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those minutes?
I'll make that motion.
And do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let me do a roll call vote, please. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell? All righty, and then we have the approval of the receipts, the disbursements, and the payment of bills. Ms. Ashley, do we have any additional bills that have come in that need to be paid?
Yes, we have had a couple trickle in.
Okay.
I know quarter million was one, included in the middle of that dropped off. The Thrasher group, and well, actually it's him individual. I can do that disbursement tomorrow. Other than that, not really. It's just, like I said, just a couple.
Do I have a motion to approve the receipts, disbursements, and the payment of bills?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second? Roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell? Okay, then we're going to the mayor's report. Just pretty much a recap of the work session. Ashley has got everything given together for the 599 funds to get that approved. We're going to be doing that on a yearly basis to see how much money is coming in for the town versus how much is going out. It looks like we're paying out more than what we're getting in, and council will review that. We are getting ready to draw our 6th drawdown to Hammond and Mitchell for the water project here in the town. The amount of that check is going to be $89,425.75, and we do have that money in the account to make that payment. Due to some changes with our business trash driver, truck driver, on Mondays, we're now going to be switching the business trash pickup to Tuesdays, but residential trash will remain on Thursdays unless it's a holiday like Thanksgiving or this past Thursday when it was Juneteenth, or a member of the town crew is out sick, because there has to be 3 on the trash truck, and that is required by law. There was an ordinance that was drawn up by the previous mayor where the mowing and any work done for the residents, where the town crew is mowing or weed eating, that was voted upon in 2023 to charge them $150. This was to eliminate residents from saying, well, I'm going to pay you $30 if you mow my grass, and keeping the town crew busy doing stuff like that instead of mowing down at the park, up at the Highlands park, and such other areas. The clerk treasurer will be sending out the chicken ordinance and fee letters the 1st of July. I believe those are due the end of July. So if anyone does not have chickens now, but they're planning on getting them, just wanted to let you know that you will be, let Ashley know, and then she can give you the form and the ordinance and let you know about the fees. Since a letter was signed by Judge Stein yesterday allowing Christopher Mayo to become a new member of council, the council committees will be changed, because a couple of them I was on because we didn't have enough people, and now with him coming on board, I'll be able to back off some, and he'll be able to take some of those council positions for the committees.
In the past, we've always had the mayor on every committee. Are we going to change that?
Well, it's going to be either the mayor or the vice mayor. I know the vice mayor's in quite a few of them as well.
But the vice mayor counts as a council person, whereas the mayor can be there. You can only have 2 people.
Well, I can still be there. I can still be there. that's no problem. Just need to know when you all want to meet.
Just a side.
We do have inmates, we checked with the sheriff's department. We do have inmates that are going to be coming and cleaning along Route 220 in July sometime. It's been entirely too hot this week to ask our town crew to do that, and I'm not going to ask them to do that. Hopefully things will cool down a little bit in July, and we'll be able to get the inmates. We're going to be cleaning up here at the Veterans Park, and then all the way down 220, all the way to 10th Street. So it's not just going to be the business area, it's going to be the whole stretch through the town. If there are any water breaks, I wanted to reassure the residents here that if there are any water breaks in the town, that either the clerk treasurer or myself reports that to the Department of Drinking Water to let them know of any waterwork failures or any malfunctions that are done. So if there's a break in the line, we notify them. So we are staying in compliance of that rule. She is also still working with the DMV to report non-payment of Iron Gate personal property taxes. So if you've not paid your personal property taxes, you will have a notice placed on your tags for your vehicle that you have to pay us, before the DMV will give you your tags. So this is just a heads up. If you have not paid, you might want to do that. Something else, I believe all of you were given this little notice here stating that we need residents to fill out the BZA. This issue that came up this evening that we had the presentation on is a classic example of why we need a BZA. And other people may want to file for something in their yard. You need to be able to have a zoning coordinator and to be able to have a BZA board so they will have someone to go to if their request is denied. And I guess that's all I have for the mayor's report. Do we have any committee reports? Okay, I know that there were quite a few people that signed up for public comments, but the public comments is going to be on anything other than the presentation that we had. So, are there anyone who has signed up for a presentation?
Chelsea Madison.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay.
I came up, I was showing them for the great cow bottle. Trying to do something about the way this town, you are just treating the town here, particularly the junior. I was told that you go lay Bradley Ridge off. So I happened to catch Junior over changing the tire when they were to dump, and he told me the same thing. You cut him off, like right now. So we'll find out if that's still the plan, and ask how do you expect Junior to cut all the grass, do all the trimming, on top of what else he's trying to do? Unless you have somebody that's going in Bradley's place. I don't understand. Is that in the plan?
I believe that would be something that the personnel committee would be able to talk with you about.
I'm not coming up and talking no problem. I'm asking you, Kwan. This is a town council meeting. I was in. 2 years ago, I don't even know what the problem was. It was almost to the day, just in front of the 4th of July. Junior was in enough to work over something that happened. Don't even remember what it was. I thought that you have public works. When I told him who it was, he said, I'll hire him tomorrow. If you ask Chuck back there, he'd probably tell you the same thing. You don't want to run Junior off.
No, that's not.
Well, you can't leave him hanging. Personnel, if they're sitting here, tell me what's going on. You know, you can't cut Junior's help off. There's no more loyal employee in the world.
I know that. We need 50 juniors.
Well, you better hang on to the one you got.
Right.
So that's the main thing. I've heard some other tales. I don't know if they're true or not. I haven't been here in 3 years. That's that's why I came up here before the cow issue came up. If it's true, I think there's probably something legal. It's a right, because the way I was told that Junior, I know he worked overtime for the water break when they were right down here a couple weeks ago. Was he given time off the next week in lieu of overtime?
No.
So when he works overtime, he's getting paid the overtime rate?
Yes, sir.
Put that to rest. That's.
I think he was off the following week because he had scheduled the week off because he's looking for another vehicle.
As small as this town is, when it travels from Rusty Hinge to the post office, it gets 14 variations.
Yes, sir, that's why.
All right. I wanted to find out. So, again, I'm gonna go over here tonight thinking there's no plan to lay off Mr. Pratt anytime soon. At least while the mowing's going on, is that correct or not?
At least while the what is going on?
Mowing, in the dead of summer. Are you expecting Junior to mow the grass, trim the grass on top of his other duties?
No. We are not expecting Junior to do it all by himself.
All right, so I'm assuming you will keep a minimum of 2 during the week, at least whatever days Pratt work.
That is what our intention is to keep 2 people working.
Not counting trash days. And you got 3.
Correct.
Well, I know you said can't speak for what we just went through, but I'm gonna say this, is there was no reason, I know you said you was trying to be courteous, but, a little over a week I heard about this, and it's created one hell of a stir in this town. In my opinion, you already got the no livestock or no farm animals ordinance. You should have told the man it sounded like a good idea, but it's not gonna happen here. Yeah? Because in the meantime, it's 15 different stories about what's going on this. That's a good idea, but we don't need it here. So, I don't see why the drama. We didn't need this. I know there's people here who's planning on coming tonight. They can't, for whatever reason out here. But everywhere I went, people would talk about the cows. I just think it was unnecessary to even get to this point, as Scott said, wow, great, we don't need it.
I appreciate the comments.
And
Thank you very much.
if it was courteous, being courteous, that's well and good, but unless it's a legality where you have to give this man a chance to, say something, explain his idea, we didn't need to hear it, That's all I got.
Thank you very much. Was there anyone else who signed up for public comments?
Mr. Chuck O'Rourke.
Yes. Madam Mayor, Councilman, thank you for serving for the town. I realize that it's a thankless job, and we also realize that you do it for free, so we appreciate that. I also want to say that I'm here not in any professional capacity other than a tax-paying citizen of the town of Iron Creek. And I have some questions that I want to ask this council that I'd like you to take away from me tonight. I'm not asking you to answer me tonight. I'm not asking you to engage with me tonight because this is a public comment section. It's not a public argument with council or the mayor session. Have all of you read the town charter? If you haven't, you need to. That's what you govern by. You can't govern by what somebody wants, what somebody thinks, or how they think it should be. The town charter is the holy grail of what is governed in this town. Furthermore, and that's why it's continually amended and upgraded and updated. How about your ordinances? Do you know your ordinances? Are you familiar with your ordinances? Because if you were, I agree with Chad. I don't know how we got here tonight, but that's neither here nor there. You made a statement that at the work session. And I thought it was on the agenda for tonight under new business, but I don't have a copy of the agenda, to vote on paying $500 for a robocall system. And you also have made statements about beautification on 220. All great ideas, all great projects. The question that I have is, where are you getting the money from? Do you have money in the budget for that type of activity? From what I saw on your budget, it's just like it was when we were here previously. It's a streamlined, tight-penny budget. No fault of yours. I'm not criticizing you for that. I know what it's like to try to work that budget. But you can't spend money you don't have budget. Your new mowing ordinance. You said the previous mayor wrote the ordinance. Was that written by the mayor or the town attorney?
It was written by the town attorney, I believe.
And there is a Virginia code that you can directly tie your new mowing ordinance to.
I will go back and look at it. I did not read it with me tonight.
Okay. You also made a statement tonight that this type of event that we talked about tonight is exactly why you need a BZA. This is not a BZA issue. Rezoning of a parcel of property deals with land use and property use. And that lands squarely on the shoulders of the Planning Commission. Planning Commission would conduct that public hearing, report back to this council. Council would conduct their public hearing and make a decision on whether you're going to rezone it or not. So it's not a Board of Zoning Appeals issue. And while we're talking about the Board of Zoning Appeals, how are you going to handle an appeal from somebody who asked for a piece of property to be zoned for a chicken coop or an outbuilding or whatever, and the zoning administrator, which is another volunteer position that I'm thankful that we have, and the town does have an adopted zoning ordinance. How are you going to handle the appeal of that individual when they get denied their zoning permit? State code clearly states, if you adopt a zoning ordinance, you shall have a Board of Zoning Appeals. There is no statement in that state code that says, oh, if we don't have a Board of Zoning Appeals, then you appeal it directly to the town council. It doesn't say that. State code says you shall have a Board of Zoning Appeals. Now, I realize you're struggling. I realize it's hard to get people to step up to the plate and do these things. But either you have to follow the state code, or you have to change your ordinances so that you can become in compliance with state code. And the last thing I want to ask you tonight is, when is the public going to be made aware of the fact that as of December the 31st of this year, 3 of your 5 seated council members have to be reelected? Nobody's been informed of that. Nobody knows that. Nobody can decide whether nobody was given the opportunity to get on the ballot if they decided they wanted to make a run for an office in Iron River, because it wasn't announced. Now the time has come that ship has sailed. You can't get on the ballot. But you can launch a write-in candidacy. So I hope all 3 people that are there, I hope they're reelected, I hope they stay, and I hope they have a long tenure. And I truly think that they have the best interest of the town at heart. And this is not about them. This is not about any person. This is about transparency and knowledge. Inform your people what's going on so that the people can help you make the decisions that you need to make to move the town forward. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Alrighty, is Scott still here, Chuck? Scott.
Now, he left.
Becky Bettis?
Mine was answered by Dizzy.
Okay. Alright. What about Martha Bennett? I think she left.
She left.
Okay. So that's pretty much all I have unless, we do left. Okay, do we finish? Do we have a comment? I didn't sign up for comments. I have one quick question. You don't even know what I'm gonna ask. Has there been a change in the trash pickup route or time? I used to be able to set my watch by it, and I've missed it 2 weeks in a row.
You mean for like Thursday pickup?
No, well, yeah, Thursday, but the time.
Not that I'm aware of.
I think we just moved a little bit quicker.
Oh,
Trying to keep, I think that's what's the problem.
Maybe that may be. Okay, I wanted to make sure, because if there's a new time, I just would like to know.
They haven't said anything to me, but I'll definitely keep an eye on that for sure.
Well, don't
I'm sorry.
bug on, it's not that big of a deal, he's right about that, but, yeah. I was just gonna ask.
Should I go back and ask the attorney a question? You are the attorney.
I am, well, the firm's with the contract, so today is public comment.
Can you,
Yes,
is that all right?
yes, sir.
By next meeting night, can you get together what the council has to do, or what the citizens would have to do to get this issue about the cattle on the ballot? To be voted on by the citizens.
I have a question, why would you want to put it on the ballot?
Because I don't trust y'all. But actually, I can.
I don't say I can do it.
I mean, not that, I mean, you asked me, I know it. Cause up till now, I hadn't heard a yay or nay of any.
It's a no for me.
It's a big no for me.
You don't have to take my word for it, but it's a no for me.
I'm not interested in it either.
Okay, all right.
Oh, wait a minute.
We're watching each other go to back and bag and good.
Because I did not want to know, because I know this is going to be lingering and everybody wants to know. I wanted to give him the opportunity to say his piece in front of everybody, so there would be no second guessing of what was going on. It would nip these rumors between the Rusty Hinge and the post office in the bud. And I also didn't want somebody to come back to me in 6 months and say, you know what, Irongate might have been able to make some money off of that deal, but you all voted against it. I didn't want that thrown up in my face that I wasn't doing what I could for the town. So that's why I did what I did. Council had they backed me on this, but this was my decision to do this because I wanted to be transparent and I wanted everybody in the town to have a chance to come to hear what was said, what their options were, and what their plans were. And this way everybody has heard the same thing. So when you all go and meet at the post office tomorrow, you'll be able to talk about the same thing.
What are you gonna vote on?
We're not gonna vote.
When are you going to vote on it? What is the date that you guys will be voting on this cow?
We won't be voting on anything until they present something. And he said the same.
That's a presentation.
That was a presentation only.
Let me talk a minute. He came in here blindsided, evidently, because I talked to him after this. And he had no idea that we felt the way we do about this. And you should have seen the ordinance, known what it was, known what this town can do, the smallness of this town, and want to put it in there. You shouldn't even have entertained him to come. You should have decided before this meeting what you wanted to do. You should have looked into it, found out more about it, discussed it with your people.
We did discuss it.
And they agreed with you to have him here to get.
I explained to them why I wanted them, why I was giving him the opportunity to do the presentation. you all just now.
Our gate has an ordinance for farmland, plain and simple. There shouldn't even be a vote on this. This should just be a dead issue after tonight. Just forget about it.
Well, it started me by saying we're not voting on it tonight, that's why I'm asking.
Well, we shouldn't even vote on it, period. This shouldn't even be brought up anymore. I'm pretty sure he got the point tonight that this is not going to.
He should have.
Yeah.
And he came and told me after the presentation, after the break, that they were not going to pursue it.
Yeah, there is no vote on this. We're just going to call it. Thank y'all for showing up on it and helping us out on this one. That's all.
Also, I will say, I am new to local government. I don't know nearly as much as I should, but I'm trying. I don't know everything, but
Don't want to run you off by any means.
but I do plan on looking at the charter and all the ordinances and stuff like that. Just make,
I think it'd be a good idea to have a clerk run off a bunch of copies, maybe not the charter, but the ordinances. And your zoning information, I'm not gonna feel a problem in that bond tonight. If mistakes are low or made,
I'll address it as zoning administrator. There's an ordinance that says you cannot have farm animals in the town of Iron Gate, period.
Correct.
It took almost a year to allow families to have 3 chickens and they have to pay $35 to do that. We worked on that over a year and that was what they voted. And Chuck can tell you, it was a hard year to get chickens.
Only 5 acre bird I had, remember?
Yep. And now I don't think there are maybe, 2 families that have chickens?
I did, I don't know.
In the beginning, there were a few, and then it just kind of waned away. Everybody got what they wanted, and then they don't want chickens anymore. They found out to care chickens a little bit harder than they thought. But this would be a year, maybe 2 in the making. Even if there was a yes vote, he can't just, no one can come in and put farm animals in Iron Gate without changing a big ordinance. And the state of Virginia has a code that says towns cannot have farm animals. So we have to go through the Code of Virginia, then you have to go through the town code. You guys would have to vote over and over. It would go on a ballot. The citizens of the town of Iron Gate would have to vote. It's not an easy, it's not a 1, 2, 3. You're talking about a year, maybe a year and a half before it ever hit a vote, probably. And a lot of the attorney's fees, everything would be involved, because that's not something a zoning administrator can do. I wouldn't even, it's already zoned industrial over there. That part's the easy part. Changing of the ordinances, and I think there's 3 that probably would need to be changed. Just glancing at it quickly. So, there is nothing to vote on.
No, there's nothing. No.
You're correct, sir, with that.
No.
Hey, misses one more hot dog too.
Well, we got the pitch. We got the pitch. It's called bacon.
I don't know if y'all call it or not, and I told Dizzy that property over not zoning agricultural, he said we wouldn't need to change that, they consider it industrial, so that's something new to me. I know it's, the cow eating business is an industry, but, I just assumed it was agriculture. So he didn't have to change the zoning to do what he's got to do where I thought that's where
No, it's industrial.
Yeah, but he talked about him in Bob, he was not going, he wouldn't worry about it, agriculture. And your industrial was this back.
I do have something to say, but I've got everybody in here saying the rest of the answer in the post office. I really got something to say here. First of all, we still have freedom of speech in our gate, correct? I mean, that's just what I want to say. And in a small town, when this big of an issue is brought up that affects everyone's life, if you guys don't make it clear, people gonna talk. And I don't care if you get the rusty ends of the post office or standing on the street corner.
Or Dwayne's dad.
Amen. Phone rings all the time.
Council? Okay, well, moving on to new business. We need to vote on approving the new contract with the Sheriff's Department. I believe that everything that was on there from last year has been, nothing has changed. Is that correct?
No, the only thing that changed was, your signature was added and the town attorney was added. Everything else stayed identical, exact same.
Do I have a motion to vote on approving the new contract with the Sheriff's Department?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell?
Yes.
Okay. Vote on applying, going ahead and having the clerk treasurer to apply for the 599 funds for the 25-26 fiscal year. Can I get a motion on that, please?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell? We had a vote on approving the dial my calls mass notification call system.
I'll vote, well, not vote, but I make a motion that we table that until we can find further information or better funding for it.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor to table the dial my calls mass notification call system until we're able to do some more research or the town is able to find the funds to pay for this. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's do roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell?
Yes.
We need to vote on the town Byron Gates 2025-2026 fiscal budget. I believe all of you all recently had a copy of that budget that you were able to go over. We were able to get it balanced, to say the least.
Could I ask a point of order on the budget?
I'm sorry?
Have you got a second reading of that budget?
No, sir, we called VML and they told us we did one. I have it here with me. Do I have a motion for a council member to approve the Iron Gate 25-26 budget?
Question, please.
Yes, sir.
Is there any rate increases on services?
No, sir, actually, the assessment went down because of the,
Yeah, I know.
because of the, because of the assessments that everybody got on the properties and the taxes went down. And I believe it's 10 cents per 100 is what it is now.
But there was no sewer, water, or?
Nothing else, nothing else was
changed.
changed. No, sir. No, sir.
Because I know you was talking about February, somewhere along there, that we got behind or something with Allegheny County, we might have to change.
Yeah, well, there was a additional fee that was owed, and actually that fee will be paid off with the last payment being made in July, and then it'll be back down. Actually, those fees did go down some, so instead of paying $18,000 and some dollars, I think we're down to paying $15,000 and something. So that decreased, and we did not address any additional increases for water, sewer, trash pickup, or anything else. Yes, ma'am.
where the water comes from, we pay that in a bulk sum or individually? How does that go? And my question being this, where my meter is in front of my house, water has been running out of it crazy. Junior came down, pumped all the water out, says it's either a spring or a leak under that sidewalk. So if we're paying for water in a mass thing, that water's just running, I mean, it's just running. It's not on my side, it's on the sidewalk side.
When was that?
Huh?
When was that?
That's been going on, I told Junior about a month ago.
Well, I know Junior went down and checked it.
He did, and he said it's either a spring or it's under the sidewalk. He didn't know which, but water's running in from under, and he had to pump it all out. It's wet all in front of my house.
Well, I know there was a water line right there.
Above.
Furnace Reed's old house
Right.
there on 8th Street.
Right. So I don't know whether we're paying for that water, it's just running wherever, or the town. I'm not.
I'll say something to him tomorrow and have him check in on it again. Okay, does anyone on council have any questions about the budget?
No.
That you reviewed? Do I have a motion to accept the budget as it was presented to council and in the newspapers and on the Allegheny Journal for the town of Iron Gate for the 25-26 fiscal year?
I'll motion.
Do I have a second? Second. Roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell? Okay, I guess it's time to set. Okay, I've got a note here from the clerk treasurer that we also need to add a vote on the new tax assessment with the budget, which, as I said, has gone down to 10 cents per 100 because of the assessments that everyone got. And that's already been figured into the budget, so I don't think we need to vote on that.
I just wanted to cover this.
The date for the July work session is going to be July the 21st at 7 p.m. And it will be held down at Town Hall this time around. And the July council meeting is set for July the 31st at 7 p.m. Also down at Town Hall. And if council does not have anything else to bring forward.
After handing out these sheets tonight for the BZA, I got 4 volunteers. Rodney Showalter, Paul, Lisa Boots, and Scott Monroe, all want to join BZA. They all need to go and sworn in.
Okay, that would be wonderful. We just have them turn in their letter of interest.
Well, it's already on your planning commission.
Excuse me?
Scott's already on your planning commission.
Right, I don't think he can be on both if he's already on the planning commission.
He's on BZA already. He said he's on BZA. Is it planning commission?
Question. We can have a minimum of 3, correct?
Besides
So,
the dam, state code allows you to have 3 to 5 suits.
3 to 5. So,
Yeah, 3.
say that one more time.
3.
3. 3 was okay.
Does council have anything else that they would like to discuss or bring forth?
Appreciate you printing those off.
Jennifer, do you have anything? Does anyone in the audience have anything else that they would like to add?
Could have hold this over,
With nothing else, we will need to go into a closed session under VA Code 2.23711, item number 4, to discuss personnel. Do I have a motion to go into closed session under VA Code 2.2-3711, item number 4, to discuss personnel? Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Roll call vote. Vice Mayor Marshall?
Yes.
Councilwoman Tyree?
Yes.
Councilman Hardesty?
Yes.
Councilwoman Burrell?
Yes.